Shalom Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the elect out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and truth and sincerity. Okay, and I just wanted to give a brief update what's been going on, as of lately between Russia and America. All right. So this article, okay, it reads U.S. prepared to levy additional Russia sanctions. Treasury official. Okay, the United States is prepared to levy additional sanctions on Russia if it does not change course in backing separatists in eastern Ukraine, a top U.S. Treasury Department official said on Thursday. Treasury Undersecretary David Cohen, in a call with reporters, also said Washington has warned Russia against a reported oil for goods swap with Iran, and that entities involved in any such deal would be exposed to U.S. sanctions. It is still unclear whether Russia and Iran have agreed on an oils for goods swap, Cohen said. Okay, so Russia, America, they preparing to add additional sanctions upon Russia based upon their actions as of lately. Okay, because we all know what America placed those sanctions upon Russia, and in return, as a tit for tat thing, another chess move, what Russia retaliated back by what? By disallowing certain imports or exports, dealing with the U.S., the NATO, and the EU countries, okay? But also, in another end, basically what Russia did, they doubled down. Instead of waiting for America to make the next move, they made the next move because they know how America feels about them making them deals with Iran, and that's what the U.S. is so afraid of, that powerful alliance between Russia and Iran, in which they already aligned, but they trying to cut ties from them becoming stronger and them becoming independent from the U.S. Okay, but as of lately, Russia and Iran, they have agreed on that deal already. All right, so America. So in turn, I guess what America is going to figure out something else to try to counteract this and throw a shot right back at them, man. And so this whole thing is basically like a chess move. It's a power move, because on both sides will be losing money, but at the same time, it's about power, because it's a difference between money and power. Okay, America's dollar is constantly falling day in and day out, and Russia, along with the BRICS formation, in which they've created Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, I believe. They're forming their own alliance separate, from the EU and the NATO states. Okay, so they're setting themselves up as what? That separate entity. So it'd basically be two world sides going against each other. It'd be NATO and the EU, which is primarily backed by America, versus the BRICS and what other nations which will wind up aligning with them, and Russia being ahead. There will be the two sides. It will be that side versus the side that Russia's on. Okay, so that's what Russia is basically trying to do. They're trying to make power moves. It's not about the money. It's about the powerful alliances in which they're trying to create. Okay, but reading on, it says Russia delivers blow to petrodollar in historic $20 billion Iran oil deal. Russia signed a $20 billion oil deal with Iran to bypass both Western sanctions and the dollar-based Western monetary system yesterday. So they're just straight trying to disrespect, the Western monetary system and make themselves separate from them. Okay, all right. It says President Putin admired gold bar, London gold delivery bar. Okay, it's a funny looking motherfucker. But reading on, it says Russian Energy Minister Alexander Novak and his Iranian counterpart Bajan Zaganeh signed a 5-year memorandum of understanding in Moscow, which included cooperation in the oil sector. Based on Iran's proposal, we will participate in arranging shipments of crude oil, including to the Russian market. Novak was quoted as saying, the 5-year accord will see Russia help Iran organize oil sales as well as cooperate in the oil gas industry, construction of power plants, grids, supply of machinery, consumer goods, and agriculture products, according to a statement by the energy minister in Moscow. The deal could see Russia buying 500,000 barrels of Iranian oil a day, the Moscow-based Kommersant newspaper has previously reported. Okay, under the proposed deal, Russia will buy up to 500 barrels a day, or a third of Iranian oil exports, in exchange for Russian equipment and goods. Okay, um, reading on, it says in January, Russia said that they were negotiating an oil for goods swap worth 1.5 billion a month that would enable Iran to lift oil exports substantially to Russia, undermining Western sanctions. Yesterday, the Russian president told regional leaders that the political tools of economic pressure are unacceptable and running counter to all norms and rules. So what he's basically saying is that what America, they're trying to go against the rules and the guidelines in which they have set up by putting pressure upon Russia. So if you're putting pressure upon another country to make a move, you know, what you expect them to do back? You expect them to just sit back and wait? No, they're going to counteract. Okay, this is just one big chess move, man. All right. He said in response to Western sanctions, he had given orders to boost domestic manufacturers at the expense of non-Russian ones. Okay, so what? In this return, what America has already made their next play. Okay, based upon this deal and based upon the sanctions in which Russia has placed upon them. Okay, from dealing with certain imports and exports. Okay, and it says EU to set up task force to deal with Russian food ban. Okay, so this is based upon what the food ban that Russia set up, against the EU, NATO, and the US. All right, and it reads: European agriculture officials will on Monday set up a task force to analyze the impact of a Russian ban on EU food imports and expect to call an emergency meeting to coordinate an EU response, the European Commission said. Moscow banned most food imports from the West on Thursday in retaliation for US and EU sanctions imposed over Russia's actions in Ukraine. The Commission said it reserved the right to take action without specifying what. So you see what Russia did is based on retaliation for the sanctions that the EU put upon them. So all it is just a power move, and basically to see who will buckle or who will crumble first, man. Okay, but Russia is completely trying to separate themselves and not deal with America and the EU and NATO at all, because the overall agenda in which they has. Okay, because anybody that that America or the EU or NATO gets in alliance with is basically they run them over basically, and they extort people, and that's exactly what Russia's not allowing them to do. Okay, all right, so yeah, just jumping down, yeah. Okay, yeah, roughly 10% of EU agricultural exports go to Russia, worth around 11 billion euros per year, according to Commission figures. Right, so, overall, what all is going on is just each side is just, they're just making chess moves, basically. You know what I'm saying? Pawn for pawn, rook for rook, knight for knight, so on and so forth. That's all they basically doing right now. You know what I'm saying? And by doing this, things are just going to wind up just keep boiling and boiling and boiling to that point in which we are waiting for. Well, ultimately is what? World War III, man. So, both sides is basically now just making these chess moves and trying to see who's going to fold, who's going to crumble, whatever the case may be, man. But y'all trying to make these power moves to, America, NATO and the EU. They're just trying to further or broaden their spectrum of world global hegemony. You know what I'm saying? And Russia, they're trying to thoroughly establish themselves as the next superpower, along with those other nations, and completely do away with anyone, having to deal with America, man. So yeah, just one more point. Another a great show of edification for brothers to watch if you got Netflix is the show House of Cards. And it's with the Edomite Kevin Spacey, who played in that movie American Beauty. And if you watch that show, if your brothers get a chance to watch that show, it gives you great edification and show you how within politics, how they make these chess moves, man, how they make these tit for tat things and how things really are. It'll definitely help broaden your spectrum on how you look at this whole scenario. So but with that, conclude this lesson. So I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the elders of the great millstone, and shalom to elect out there doing this work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalom, death to America.